Hello and welcome to yesterday's airlines. In this video I'm going to take a quick unboxing look at the latest arrivals from ngmodels. As you can see in the picture, I've this month got 6 new ngmodels that have arrived at the hangar, and there are some pretty exciting models here. So what I'm going to do is quickly get these out of the box and give them all a once over, see what you guys think. So first up, we've got the Boeing 737-800, registered B5656 of Xiamen Airlines in the special Beijing Daxing colours. So this is a really nice box, as always with ngmodels, but we're not here to look at the boxes, so let's put that over there. And instead, let's concentrate on the model itself. Now, I'm a big fan of the NG 737-800, who isn't? It's a great mould, and this is a really colourful addition for an airline which I've got quite a lot of. So it's a really attractive scheme, and NG have done, as you'd expect, a really nice job. It's actually one of those schemes which is so detailed it's difficult to pick up on the camera. I don't know if you can see here the intricate lines that come across the fuselage here, but it's really nicely done, and the printing is, as always, exceptional, highly detailed all across the model, which nicely is all in one piece and has no obvious QC errors. Another nice point is you've got the blue hubcap there on the outer wheels. So a really nice 737, an attractive scheme. I do like Chinese airliners, especially when they produce such nice liveries as this, and I think this one's going to be, doing really well in the collection. Now, obviously, one thing about NG 73s is they don't have a stand hole, so I'll put them up here and get my hands out of the picture. But yeah, this looks like a really nice model. I think this will go really nicely with my existing Xiamen Airlines fleet. And if you're thinking of dabbling in Chinese airliners, then this one is a good option. Okay, Model 2, it's another Chinese 737, and this one is B5425, which is an Air China 737. This one's also got a special scheme for the hopefully upcoming Winter Olympics in 2022, which I believe are in Beijing. And so it's not surprising that Air China here have got a special scheme, a very childish looking special scheme, I admit, and yet another special scheme which involves a panda. But hey, what are you going to do? Again, nice box, and straight onto the model, which is also very blue, much like the Daxing 737 I showed a minute ago, and not quite as nice, to be honest, partly because for some reason the Air China logo here on the tail is tiny. That's not a reflection of the model as so much as the real thing, but the scheme isn't quite as attractive in my eyes. One thing that is perhaps a bit of a reflection is the nose gear fit on this 737. It's a lot tighter maybe than the one on the Daxing 737. So you can see that there's still some variation in terms of how they're getting their nose gears to fit. You can see the Daxing is sitting higher. Which you prefer? Entirely up to you. I guess probably the Air China is slightly more accurate, but actually I think I might even prefer the look of the Daxing one. But otherwise, this model is much like the Xiamen one, really nicely detailed, and has everything in the right place. Looking pretty good. Oh yeah, I didn't even notice on that side it says Beijing 2022 in huge letters. So it's an asymmetric scheme. But I tend to display my models always showing the left side of the aeroplane, so people will see that side, not the other side, when on display. So another 737, and again, I imagine that for the majority of Western collectors, these two are not being high on their list, which is part of the reason why I've done them at the start of the video. Okay. So next up, we've got one of the much awaited Tristars. NG really aren't making enough Tristars to my liking. They're probably the ones I look forward to the most in terms of their releases. But it's really nice to have a Gulf Air edition because it's a beautiful scheme, this classic Gulf Air livery with the falcon on the tail and the lovely colours on the fuselage, especially at the nose. Gulf Air have had so many attractive schemes, and this beautiful golden falcon livery worked really nicely on the L1011. So again, let's not spend too much time looking at the box and let's get the aircraft out. Here she is. And she's a really nice rendition of a Tristar in my eyes. I love this mold. I think that they're really going to struggle to produce bad models with it. I think that it looks spectacularly good. And as always, the printing from NG here is sublime, really, really nice. Now, one thing people, or some people anyway, have criticised is the height of the window line. It may be slightly high here. I don't think it's dramatically high, not to the extent that it really impacts the model. It perhaps is slightly too high, especially at the rear, but it's not a big thing. And certainly it was certainly not a problem for me selling my original Sovereign Gulf Air Tristar on the Gemini mold way before I got this model, and this is clearly a better version than that because the mold is really nice and the printing is really impressive, and obviously it's across the board. Look at that detail printing. It is really, really good. Now, one thing that NG have struggled a bit with on their Tristars is the hubcaps for the engines, but I'm glad to say on this one, all the hubcaps are looking good. They fixed the hubcaps, at least for this one here, and they're all detailed caps, so that's really nice. I mean, there's not really very much to fault this unless you're going to get really, really anal about the height of the window line, which I think isn't a particularly big issue. So really impressive Tristar release there from NG Models, and that's going to look class in the Middle Eastern section of my collection. So next up is my fourth NG Models model, and this one is another 737-800. This time it is the winglet-less American Airlines edition N955AN. And this is a model I haven't actually got out of the box yet, so this one actually still is in the box. And this one came from a different retailer to the previous three models you just saw. So that's why I haven't got out of the box yet. So let's have a look. And, oops, you can see here that we have a bit of an issue straight away because it is got a detached stabilizer. So let's just get that out. You can see that it is the right hand side stabilizer that has become detached. Now, I've seen people talking a bit about this from NG Models. Obviously, they're not immune to the odd QC problem. And here's an example of that. It's not drastic though, is it? Let's have a look. Is there any damage to the aircraft here? No, there isn't. So it's easy enough to put that back in with a bit of glue. Might not even need the glue, to be honest. Might just slot in there. And there we go. And it's not a biggie. Having said that, it would be nice for models to arrive in one piece. But this model has come all the way from the United States to New Zealand, so lots of interesting things now that have happened to that package on the way. So I'm not going to dwell too much on that QC issue. Obviously, it would lose points if I was doing a review, but at the same time, it hasn't really damaged the model. So what have we got here? This is a really classic livery, obviously one of the last new types to receive this classic scheme, the 800, and it just fits in my criteria, which is turn of the century-ish for American airliners, and it's going to replace the Gemini edition, which I have in my fleet, which uses the very old, but still not bad Gemini mold, but obviously it doesn't compete against the NG Models version, which, you know, from a first look here is looking pretty good. Now, there are a few marks on the chrome here, but easy enough to clean those off, and overall I can't see any, you know, major issues with the model. It's looking super nice, and also nice is that on this one I think they've got the undercarriage in pretty much perfect spot. So if I get perhaps the other 737 that we looked at and compare it, I think that this is pretty much the perfect height on the American, whereas I think that the Air China is slightly too low, and perhaps the Daxing 737s maybe a little too high, but overall I think that this is clearly the best 737-800 mold available, though there's some good competition from Pans now. And these models are super nice. I think that, you know, this is a beautiful model to add to my AA fleet. Okay, the last model to look at this month is the Pan Am China Clipper 747SP N540PA. And the NG 747SP continues to cause a little bit of controversy in terms of its nose shape and some of the printing. But overall, these are still killer models and the best SPs that anyone has ever made and is probably likely to make in this scale. So again, let's get the model and have a look at what she looks like. And I have to say that, you know, first impressions here are really good. This model is hitting the spot from distance for me. It looks really nice. Got the classic 1976 Pan Am livery with the slightly larger titles and the slanted flag. The model's looking nice. It's looking super nice. It's got really good detailing going on here, as you'd expect, especially on the wing line here. And you've got the sort of really nice chromy fuselage and really exquisite printing you'd expect. Now, the thing that people have been, or some people have been, you know, a little bit complaining about is the height of the cheat line in comparison to the nose cone. And, you know, I do think that one or the other is correct. Maybe both are correct slightly. Having said that, it's a relatively minor concern for me. I think that the cheat line obviously should be slightly lower in comparison to the nose cone, but this is still a really, really attractive SP and a really nice 747 and the best 747 that pretty much anyone's made in this scale, when you add together the printing and the quality that goes with a standard NG release. It's super nice, even if it is not necessarily 100% perfect. And I might do a detailed review and try and look at some of these potential issues more. Now, one thing that I do note on this one is they've captured, or it's captured, the Tristar disease, and the hubcaps on the wheels are not detailed all the way across, which is annoying. So there's always room for some improvement, and you can see here this hubcap is not detailed, neither are these outer ones here, but those inner ones there are. So I'd like them to sort that out. I mean, the light grey hubcaps themselves are a little bit out of touch with the reality anyway. But again, I might do a detailed review on this one, and I can address those issues if I do. Overall, I think that it's another really nice SP. Do I want them to modify the mould? I'm not convinced it's important. I think the mould looks pretty damn good. It's certainly kicking the bottom of the existing Herpa and JC and Gemini molds, so not massively concerned by it. I think the model's looking awesome, and obviously I'm going to pre-order the upcoming United Battleship NG SP as well, because why the hell wouldn't you? So that's a very quick look around this month's models. Okay, so that's all 6 of the models that I've got from NG's releases this month. Which of these is my favourite? And that's super hard to work out. I think that probably, you know, on a first glance, my favourite is probably the Air Lanka. But they're all really nice. I'm not majorly disappointed by any of them. If there is a disappointment, it's probably the Air China, just in terms of perhaps not liking the livery very much. And sometimes the livery accentuates this undersized shape of the nose, which I'm still not 100% sure about. So that's probably my least favourite. Having said that, it's still a bloody good model. And the other two 737s are really, really nice. Haven't got major issues with the SP, though I agree there is perhaps some modification of the nose required at some point. And the Gulf Air is looking pretty kick-ass too, even if maybe the rear window line is not, you know, low enough by a tiny amount. Overall, NG is still making, in my opinion, the best models in 400 scale at this point in time. They're the most detailed, the molds are the best. They obviously work with a collectorate, which is lovely, and their printing is second to none. So you can't really go wrong buying NGs, except obviously they cost more than many of the other models, but you're getting what you pay for. You're getting high quality models. So anyway, that's this month's NGs. Thank you very much for watching. Check out my other videos. Check me out on Instagram at @YesToAirlines. Follow me on Facebook. Check out the website, because the website is full of information about the scale and everything that's happening, and there's always new exciting exclusives coming up. So thanks very much for watching, guys. See you later.